Welcome inside the Fox Network Center as we get ready to drop the puck on a great afternoon of NHL action. Hi, I'm Chris Myers. We'll send you back to Madison Square Garden in just a minute. Not exactly a flurry of activity, but a trade to tell you about. A big deal. 3 weeks ahead of the March 23rd deadline, the Calgary Flames this morning dealing away Theo Fleury to the Colorado Avalanche. Fleury leads the Flames as the team's all-time leading scorer with 364 goals. The last link to Calgary's '89 Stanley Cup team, the heart and soul of the team, but he becomes an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. He's had a good season, currently 6th in the league in goals and points. The Avalanche also get winger Chris Dingman in the deal. And in return, the Flames get winger Rene Corbet and defenseman Wade Belak, plus future considerations. Fleury has made it clear he will not sign a contract until this season is over with, so it appears for now that Colorado is only renting Theo Fleury. Stay tuned. Time to send you now back to the Garden, where Mike Emmerich and John Davidson are set to call the action between the Rangers and the Flyers.
And there are 23 shopping days left until the rosters get frozen. Will the Rangers be shopping? Will the Flyers? They meet this afternoon for the first time in over 4 months at Madison Square Garden in New York. They've had 2 low-scoring games, but those were back in October. John Van Beesbrook, a 20-game winner already this year, will be in the goal for the Philadelphia Flyers this afternoon. And his former teammate will be at the other end, Mike Richter. It was the first star against Phoenix with 25 saves, and in the last game between these two teams, made 35 saves to preserve a tie in Philadelphia. Eric Lindros has had the hot hand. In the last 22 games, he's had at least a point in all but one. He has established a new Flyers point-a-game string, eclipsing one by his boss, Bob Clarke. Rob Schick will be the referee this afternoon. Gord Brosiker and Tim Nowak will be the linesmen. The video replay official will be John DeMonte.
And with a big trade completed today, Mike, we should go into that a little deeper. Fleury and Dingman for Corbet and Belak. Also a first or a second rounder will go to Calgary. And one of 2 unsigned draft picks, I believe, will be going to Calgary too, as last season Colorado had a number of high picks in the first round. And the impact of the trade, you wonder what that makes Dallas think. What are they going to do? What is Detroit now going to do? Other good teams from the West. Will Phoenix do something? Fleury now an Avalanche for the rest of the season. Colorado, oh man, did they get themselves a good player.
Domino effect, perhaps, with other teams getting involved. Leach and Samuelson, as John forecast, start the game because it's the big line for Philadelphia. Keith Jones, John LeClair, Eric Lindros, and Lindros with a shot that's deflected away by Wolf Samuelson. LeClair tipped one and then rammed high and hard with Samuelson. LeClair working him over again. Meanwhile, the puck turned on to Lindros. Lindros shakes it back over for the turn by Jones. The take by LeClair, and he put it off Richter, and then it's floated back on by Graves. Peter Nedved bringing it on for the Rangers. Nedved forced off.
Twice on this shift, the Rangers got to the Flyers' blue line and could not get the puck deep. Finally, they do there, and it's offside. John McLean tried on the very first portion of the game. Quick turnover, and all of a sudden the puck's in the Rangers zone, and you have Lindros, LeClair, and Jones cycling and trying to get the puck to the front. It did once, and Mike Richter was there with his goal stick. So an emotional start, I think, and a good sign for the Flyers. LeClair, Lindros, and Jones get the cycle going, get the forecheck going, and the first big hit was Samuelson and LeClair. Just what we expected.
Exactly, and a tradition, as you'll recall to your playing days.
And for the Rangers, they better get the puck deep at the other team's blue line, or they're going to pay a big price.
Langkow, Zelepukin, and Jody Hull. Hull with the puck now, dropping it to the Zelepukin corner. He went down wanting to buy a penalty, but there'll be none. This is the end of February. Last time that there can be 2 officials, at least till that is looked for a little more and examined by the league. We're fully expecting to see a lot of it at important times.
We'll see it in the playoffs, I think, Mike.
Indeed.
2 referees per game.
Hall dropped it around. Zelepukin there, rocked and held to the boards by Scott Frazier. Langkow dug it out. Met there by Rumenender. On the outside, it's Hull with a shot. That blocked back. And then a shot by McGillis deflected wide. Centering attempt blocked off by Ender, playing in his 9th Ranger game after 8 earlier this year with Buffalo.
So 2 good forechecking shifts so far by the Flyers, yet no shots on goal. The forecheck's there, but they haven't got the puck to the quality ice.
Van Beesbrook with a big save, and another try that went off Mike Knuble. Boy, did he ever let it go. A stick was broken, but it was not Knuble's. Loaded back on by Schneider, grabbed off by the Flyers defense and given up again. It's Malhotra flipping one. Controlled to the corner by Sundstrom. Back on for Manny Malhotra. Schneider with a big hit, but it may be a 2-on-1 for the Flyers, and it is. Renberg with a pass that's fluffed off by Tamer. Renberg fed it back in front, but it's grabbed off and laid back out by Schneider.
Yeah, it looks like a Flyer-Ranger game. Great start. Good save by Van Beesbrook on Knuble, who was the recipient of a turnover.
Rod Brind'Amour for the Flyers. Got it on a round. Forbes put it behind. Thrown in front by Kovalenko to Brind'Amour, and the shot deflected wide. Tamer punched it right back. The old-timers teams from both of these franchises are going to play after this one. Yeah, why are you chuckling so maniacally?
It won't be this quick, but it might be just as much fun.
And as intense. On comes Leach, swept nicely away by the defense of Chris Therien, and brought back by the Flyers. Headman pass, and it went off Colin Forbes' stick. Forbes sized up and rammed by Samuelsson. Meanwhile, it's pitched on by Leach, kept alive by Desjardins. Dropped it behind. Wolf Samuelsson rammed hard by Forbes. Flyers with some heavy hitting early. Desjardins dubbed a shot, and it was outside anyway, and so the play is stopped. Early interesting stages, first period, no score.
Watch the stick of Manny Malhotra as Tertishny tries to pass. It hits the stick blade. Turnover. Van Beesbrook now has got to get ready. Here comes the snapshot. And a good pad save by Van Beesbrook. That's the only shot we've seen in the game. A lot of action, but not many shots.
Nedved up front for the Rangers. John McLean on one side, Adam Graves on the other. In the defense, Leach and Samuelsson, because it's Lindros and Leclerc and Jones. A couple of players over skate, but it's carried away for the play to be made by McLean. Got it out to Desjardins.
The Flyers are coming off a loss in Tampa Bay. They did not have a very good face-off game there, and that's out of character for them. They are exceptional at winning draws, and we'll watch for that as the game moves along.
56% in that. Here is a collision, and Lindros fed, but through Leclerc.
Wolf Samuelsson took a run at Lindros, lost his stick and everything.
Comes to the bench for a change in players. Rich Brennan able to knock it away nicely from Lindros and then hand pass it ahead. Rich Brennan, one of several players recently called up by the Rangers from their American Hockey League farm team in Hartford. Jody Hall brings it on. The Lindros line is on its way off. Worked in deep, and Brennan back to take. Turns it on to Ruben Ender. Ender back on for Kevin Stevens, and Stevens' pass skipped loose. Flipped back out by Tertishny. Worked back ahead for control, and then it's knocked back aside for Valeri Zelepukin. Trickled around behind. Hull tried to play it there. Knocked loose for a turnaround shot that deflected wide as Langkow pulled the trigger, but the Rangers got in the way of it. Turned around behind. Brennan with some trouble. Ender fighting his way free and able to knock it along. Savard angled it too far. Tertishny just banged it back, taken by Stevens, finessed onto Savard, and again back into the Flyers' end. Stevens has just gotten up and gone to the bench from a hit. Good crunching here in the first 5 minutes. No score in the game. Shots on goal, 1-0 Rangers. I had to look at that a second time, John. 1-0 Rangers the shots, and that was the turnover that you just illustrated. Two-line pass, play stopped.
Earlier we talked about Samuelsson taking a run at Eric Lindros. Watch Lindros. He kind of gets screened out. There he is, driving to the front, and Samuelsson left his feet, took a run at him and everything. Now face-off wise, Lindros was telling us before the game he loves to go to the backhand as much as he can. Pull it back, pull it back, pull it back. Philly 1, Detroit 2, Dallas 3, the Rangers 17th. And the Rangers, you know, you look at their lineup for this game, they know Brind'Amour is good. They know Lindros is really good. Rangers don't have that one real quality guy to go to. Peter Nedved would be their best, and he's head-to-head in this game so far with Lindros. Now here, Mike, for the second shift, Malhotra is 18 years old, number 6, opposite Brind'Amour. Veteran, tough, intelligent, good player, great player. This will be an interesting matchup for the kid.
Had a wonderful game against Phoenix. Bouncing puck came all the way near Malhotra. Uniform number 6. Turned back on the cycle to Malhotra again. Wanted to jam for Knuble. Worked free by Rod Brind'Amour and punched out to neutral ice. Michael Renberg brings it ahead. Renberg shot one, calmly blocked away by Mike Richter. Lifted along by Knuble. Bouncer kicked along free. Oh, what a heavy hit across the way. And Malhotra is the guy that applied it. He comes to the ice and then drifts into the bench now for a change in line.
There's a hit on Dykhouse. It didn't bother him at all. The Flyers are being really diligent about the game here. No retaliation penalties. A lot of cycle. They just haven't gotten the offense going yet.
Ender and Lacroix with the 2 hits you just noticed. Both of them are Rangers. Flip back near Lacroix, kept by Ender. Popped right back to the corner. Desjardins there. Desjardins shook his way by Dubé. Dropped it back over. Mark Bureau tries to tip it further, and it's nudged back out by Roman Vopak.
Like, you get a sense everything in this game is quick. And everything that's happened so far is just quick, 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 quick. Kind of like that. But, again, the shots are only one apiece.
One thing that was said last year that is still occasionally said about the Rangers is the age factor on the team, but it's been made a lot lighter lately, especially with some of the players that have come up that are very youthful from Hartford. Dan McGillis, bothered by a neck, but playing today. Try to center. Vopak tried that. That failed. Bureau the same. It comes to Vopak. Wanted to throw it in front, but it's grabbed off and started out by Dubé. Nudged on for the drop back in by Brent Fetting. 7 minutes played first period. A shot apiece, but it sure hasn't been dull. Laid back on now for Jones, hustled ahead but for Lindros, but a good spike by McLean, and it came to Ulf Samuelsson.
Nedved again on Lindros. Nedved said he played against Lindros a number of times when he was playing in Pittsburgh.
Here's an attempt by Leclerc, back onto Jones, tripped up on the play. Jones trying to stick handle from his knees. Leclerc moved in. All aggressiveness dumped around behind. Jones there for Lindros. He scores!
What a nice goal. Beautiful goal. And Jones, in talking to Eric Lindros before the game, we were talking about Jones because Jones is one of those guys on the ice that talks a lot, drives other people nuts. He said, but you know something? He's got a quick hands, quick stick. He knows where we are when he gets a puck along the boards, and boy, did he make a nice play. You'll see the puck end up down low. See Jones, he should have almost drawn a penalty there. Instead, he's down, he's still down, never gives up on the play. Now Leclerc and Lindros will get themselves into position with the puck going to Jones. Quick pass, bang. What Jones did was bring Brian Leetch to him. And as soon as Brian Leetch got to him, he knew there was open ice in front. Perfect pass to Lindros, and the big line makes it 1-0. And for the big boy, the E-Train's 26 years of age and has a goal already.
Seems like he's been around a long time for age 26. He has since he was 18. And the spotlight has been on him, and very brightly, through the first 6 and a fraction years of his career. Not to mention Olympics in '92, as well as in '98 over in Nagano, Japan. Played by Savard. The return is tipped over 2 lines for Kevin Stevens, and so Lindros has the only goal early in this contest.
It's the Flyers' goal. They develop a 3-on-1 down low, and by the time McLean gets to Lindros, it's too late. There goes Leetch to the back to Jones. McLean can't get to Lindros, and bang. 1-0 Flyers, and they did it all along the board.
Leetch with a pass ahead. Worked back across for the carry by Stevens in the hand to Savard. For Stevens across. Oh, and breaking down the wing was Scott Fraser, but he got locked up by the checking forward.
And the pass went into his skates.
And it's pitched up into the seats.
Richardson just gave Savard a shot, maybe a penalty.
Meanwhile, let's check in on some other NHL action with Chris Myers.
All right, the Kings trying to hang around in the playoff picture, playing in Dallas. Kings have struggled against the Stars. Off the pass from Verbeek. Watch Joe Nieuwendyk slip it past Stefan Fiset, is 13th. Dallas with a 1-0 lead. The Kings have not beaten Dallas in 15 straight, and they're already behind.
The salute to Mighty Joe, and a gentleman by the name of Doug Lidster is now a star.
How about this, Mike? As you see, Luke Richardson in 2 minutes for roughing. The other night, the Rangers were playing in Calgary, and we on MSG Network, the network that covers the Rangers, did an interview with Doug Lidster. And Lidster was talking about playing for the Canadian national team, etc. Well, Bob Gainey, who runs Dallas, George McPhee, who runs... Whoa!
What a turnaround on John Van Beesbrook, just trying to lift the puck away, and it caroms off a Ranger and in. We'll get to that Dallas story in a moment, but Adam Graves has tied it up. And it is a power play goal.
It's a very strange power play goal. From the faceoff, Rangers start on the power play. And as the puck is moved in, Van Beesbroek reads it to fire it away, and it hits Adam Graves and goes in. Graves is having a great year, but this is one of the strangest goals you'll see him score. He was actually turning away a little bit so he didn't get hit in the face. It hit him in the thigh, and the puck beat Therien to the goal line and across 1-1. Van Beesbroek, he very seldom has trouble handling the puck. He did on that play, and we're tied up at 1.
The second Ranger shot on goal, just as the Flyers had their second and scored on it. And that's been it. 4 total shots in the game. Puck scaled back off, hoping to work it onto Sundstrom, but instead Rod Brind'Amour burrows into the corner. Locked up there by Malhotra. Kicked back over to Sundstrom and started ahead to Fedek. Lob back in, hustling back to play Mike Knuble. Knuble locked up in the corner. Still working, puck kicked back along, but came over for Andrei Kovalenko. Still looking for his first point as a Flyer, Kovalenko. This is Tertishny. Able to get it on to Kovalenko, and then it's dealt on back. Dan McGillis. And then Tertishny again, nearing the halfway point of the first period. The Ranger chant begins, moving in, Brind'Amour, and the shot deflected up into the seats.
Oh boy, and Tamer rode across and gave Brind'Amour a ride hard into the boards. Tamer, who fights asthma, has to take the inhalant during games, timed the shot by Brind'Amour perfectly, deflected the puck into the stands, and then rode Rod Brind'Amour right into the boards well after the whistle for a hard body check. There's the puck going into the stands. Look at Tamer on the far side, bang, high and hard. As both teams don't want to back up in this game. Coming back to that story, Mike, so Doug Lidster is playing for the Canadian national team. Watching the interview with George McPhee, who runs Washington, Bob Gainey, who runs Dallas. Well, they both called him and offered him a job the rest of the way. So Doug Lidster said, "Oh, I'm going to Dallas." So he's there, and if Daryl Sador is injured with the knee, if he can't play today, Doug Lidster would be in the lineup and a chance of doing well with that team in the playoffs. You never know. Maybe a cup.
My partner with a help wanted sign ready at hand.
Right.
Pretty interesting. Off this face-off, it is kept alive. Therien put one off the tip of the glove of Richter. Dug out by Graves. Trickled on for John McLean. Pushed it along. Hit by Desjardins, and so they still must play, and it's Leclerc. Back up to Jones on the wing for Lindros. Wheeling in. Lindros tripped up by Richter. Went thumping into the boards. And the Rangers up with it there, but Nedved can't clear. Dealt right back on. Some time and space for Leclerc. Fed it across, but it's tipped away by Samuelsson. Shunted right back to the same corner. Who's in after it? Graves is there to pull it away. Adam Graves forces it back off of the turning winger John McLean. Tipped on for Samuelsson. Drubbed on but not out. Jones kept it alive. Hustling to the corner is Lindros. Big collision with old Samuelsson, and the glass still shaking. Centering pass flagged by Leach, and then it pops right back across the net mouth and is brushed to neutral ice.
And a third attempt by the Rangers to get the puck over their own blue line. First time they do. The Lindros line, 3 shifts, they haven't been in their own zone yet.
The Rangers going with a triangular arrangement, wanting to get Nedved out there too, or is it just the 2 defensemen?
Oh yeah, no, the Nedved line. Here the Flyers are playing the trap here. 1 man in, the rest of them in the neutral zone. They played the trap throughout this first period.
Stevens wide with the shot. Beaupont knocked down by Fedek. Turned back on, and rushing to it was Forbes. Help came from Dykhouse, but then he was given a solid thump by Kevin Stevens. Back to get it Brennan. After him is Beaupont. Quickly got rid of it to Ender. Ender back up to Stevens. Lays it ahead. Savard up the wing. Frazier a drive, and a save made by Van Beesbroek.
Oh, baby, is this quick? This game is so quick. Just look at a face-off. Lindros and Nedved. It's not on a circle, so they're both cheating. Both facing the boards. Both of them. Goes off the linesman's skate. Here's the scoring chance where Lindros was flying down the right side. Richter used his goal stick. You know, for the first few years, Richter's was a goaltender with the Rangers. He didn't use his stick much. Here's a collision. Dykhouse has to play the puck. A clean hit by Stevens. Good crunching body check. We're seeing a lot of hits in this game. And Rob Schick, the referee, is letting them play, Mike. He is calling a good game by not calling very much. The players have played hard and tough, and they're keeping it clean.
You notice the face-offs. John pointed out the best team in the league is Philadelphia, and they're showing it here this afternoon, winning 7 of 9.
It shouldn't surprise anybody. They're very, very good, especially when they're mentally into a game.
Bureau won that one. It had to be paddled away by Van Beesbroek, though. The battle behind Malhotra checked off. Forbes trying to work it back out. Ill humor when you arrive at the puck. Fred Shiro, who coached both of these teams, said that, and there's lots of ill humor out there.
Yeah, he said you take the shortest route to the puck and arrive at ill humor.
There have been some short routes, haven't there? Malhotra left it behind. Swung right back out again, and on with it come the Flyers in this 1-1 tie. Hope you're enjoying this one on Fox, along with John Davidson, Mike Emmerich from Madison Square Garden. 18,200, full house for the 110th straight time to see these two old mean rivals battle. Back on Zelepukin, dropped it on back, dipping the shoulder. Langkow, backhander, went off of Richter and then wide. Scott Frazier digs it out. Lays a pass to neutral ice. Stevens tries to get there first, did, but then was checked by Dan McGillis. McGillis, the hit leader for Philadelphia and the hit leader in the entire league last year. Big number 3 just put one off the wall that came to Tamer for a shot. That one deflected across and is grabbed by Kovalenko. Andrei Kovalenko came in that triangular deal with Tampa Bay and Edmonton. Little pass tipped away by the Flyers defense and re-grabbed by McGillis. Stepping ahead with this is Rod Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour has Renberg breaking. Got it on back for a slam by Kovalenko that is held by Richter and play stopped. A 1-1 game midway first.
Ex-Rangers in attendance. Bobby Nevin, Vic Hadfield, and the Cat, Emil Francis. With some good seats here to watch. Is a Legends game to be played after this one between Ranger Legends and Flyer Legends, and that should be a lot of fun.
Saw Brad Park here earlier today. Think Vic will play in that game?
He might. Yeah, I do. I hope he does. Brian Propp is here. He does the radio work for the Flyers.
Not playing. They've got to go to Montreal.
Right.
What a road saga.
I asked Bobby Clark if he was going to play. He can't find his equipment.
Right. He's looking real hard, isn't he?
It's in a museum back in Philadelphia in the arena. He said it's going to stay there, too.
Fed over for a shot by Brind'Amour that got the glass, and decked to the ice was Kovalenko.
He's back up, though, and ready to jump into action.
Schneider put it on goal. Van Beesbrook covers.
Schneider, Kovalenko.
Looks like they'll part. According to the NHL stats being kept across the way, the hits are 23-11 Rangers right now.
Well, the puck's been in the Rangers zone quite often, and the Rangers are finishing their checks. Here's the hit by Schneider. He caught Kovalenko right in the chest. Kovalenko went down. He went back at Schneider. Schneider got mad and threw a punch at Kovalenko. Then Kovalenko came back with a shove towards Schneider. And they're both going to go to the box. In this type of a game, you know, there hasn't been a lot of offensive chances, but it's been close. The Flyers have put a lot of pressure on the Rangers here so far in the first period, nearly 13 minutes in.
Well, next week on Fox, it's an interconference battle as the Avalanche and Theo Fleury face off against Jaromir Jagr and the Penguins, plus other regional action. It all starts at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific. Check local listings for the game in your area right here on Fox.
St. Louis at Dallas, Rangers at Boston. Hope Chris Pronger is back for that one for St. Louis. He's been out to find defensemen out of the lineup for the Blues. And I'll be honest with you, I can hardly wait to see that game in Pittsburgh with Theo Fleury going to play for Colorado. You know, his agent is a fellow out of Winnipeg by the name of Don Baisley, the same agent that Peter Forsberg has. Forsberg is a restricted free agent at the end of the year. Theo Fleury is still an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, and I think Don Baisley, the agent, is going to be a busy guy. At the end of the year, I mean by the end of the season. July 1st, I guess, is the deadline.
Puck kept by the Rangers, fed over to Brian Leetch. Looks to the front, the wrister, blocked high by Van Beesbrook and scooped up by Therrien. Advances it back on to Eric Lindros in a 3-on-2. Feeds the wing, moving in and on. The pass across to Desjardins. He was taken out of the play.
Was that a great play all the way up ice by the offensive team and the defensive team? Great, spectacular on the offside now. Mike, a 4-on-2 it started. And here's Samuelsson getting at Lindros a bit. And Lindros moved up 3-on-2, stopped, and then fed the puck. Watch him on the puck. He'll stop and then feed it to his left. Now the key is over here. Does Leetch pick his man up? That's Desjardins. Yes, he took him right out of the play nicely. That's just a great play all the way up ice by both teams. Good hockey. Spectacular play by all the players involved.
The longevity of Eric Lindros in the Flyer uniform.
Well, he does have a contract for this year. he'll have a contract for next year that's been agreed upon. But Bob Clark wants to sign him to a long-term deal. They've been unable to do that so far. Penalty here to Ulf Samuelsson. He's going for 2 minutes. So this will be 4-on-3 plus the goaltenders, and the Rangers not happy with this call. The owner of the Philadelphia Flyers, or one of, Mr. Schneider.
Chairman of the board, has presided over not only a successful NHL team in Philadelphia, but an American League team too, the Philadelphia Phantoms. They are selling out their game in the big building this afternoon, and they sold out their game at the Spectrum on Friday. So for an American League game, a period of over the weekend, 2 games, 38,000 fans.
Wow.
38,000 fans. And I think they're going to look into an East Coast League team next.
It's a great hockey city. Philadelphia supports their teams there regarding hockey like crazy. And Mr. Schneider, when we saw him, did he look intense? He looked like he was going to throw the blades on and get out there.
That's it. I'll get that Samuelsson when he comes out.
4-on-3. Here we go. Flyers on the power play.
Samuelsson the rough at 13:25. Rod Brind'Amour looking things over. Brind'Amour across to Lindros. On to the back to Desjardins. Brind'Amour firing, and it's deflected wide as Tamer got a piece of it. He and Leach are out on defense. The other part of the triangle is Sundstrom, and he was able to block this one and then chip it back down. Strong defensive work by Nicholas Sundstrom. 6 minutes left first period. Shots are 5-4 Rangers. Game tied at 1. Desjardins gains the line and then is wedged off, thrown out of play by Tamer, and the clock stopped again.
Power play not kind to the Flyers in recent games. Let's look at what they're trying to do here. Now, if we just stop it there, guys, you got a left-handed shot on the right side. This is Lindros, a right-handed shot over there. So if the puck is passed side to side, they can shoot the puck off the pass. Desjardins is on the backside, and I believe that's Leclerc in front. See, they want to shoot the puck off the pass. Off the pass. Desjardins moves it down, and you can shoot it quickly. Now, Brind'Amour stopped the puck there. He's better off to shoot it right off the pass so Richter doesn't have enough time to move across and get into position.
John McLean is the forward for the Rangers. No change in defense. No change in the Flyers at all. Both teams get a man back in 40 seconds. Flipped off of Lindros' stick, knifed down by Leach, and chipped on for the lift back out by John McLean. Half a minute on the coincidental minors. Eric Desjardins lays it back across. Rod Brind'Amour walks it on. Now some space to give back to Desjardins. Brind'Amour again looked across at Lindros, to Desjardins, to Lindros, over to Brind'Amour, had to stop, and then it skipped off his stick. In 10 seconds, both get a man back. Desjardins, shot blocked high by Richter. Eric Lindros controlling again. In 2 seconds, both get a man back. Lindros back over to Desjardins, back to Lindros. Hurried shot was wide. Rebound chipped up in the air. Around behind Brind'Amour, decked by Leach. It's fed back out to Lindros again. 20 left on the power play. Jammed at the front of the net, but denied by Leach. Tamer tried to play it, but instead it's Leclerc working the outside. Now it comes through Lindros and down.
The fans loving it, but if you've had tickets and you're sitting in this building in the Rangers zone, you've seen a good game. The puck's been in their zone the whole time as there's an icing call against the Flyers. 2 seconds to go on the Samuelsson minor, and the fans love it. The Flyers had a couple of shots from directly in front of Richter, but they were by Desjardins out towards the blue line. The big boys down low didn't get anything, and the penalty killing worked so far. The Flyers power play just has not been clicking lately. Tried different things. Take a look at some of the work. Leclerc with Tamer. A little more pressure now as the Rangers have 3 defensemen on the ice. Leach, Tamer, and Schneider. So they have 3 defensemen out there of the 4 people killing penalties. There's Richter trying to look through Big John Leclerc, who's always near the top of the goal crease. Well, Richter dove there and got to the puck just a split second ahead of John Leclerc.
Despite the fact that the Rangers are currently not in the playoffs, if you were to draw the line beneath 8, if they win this game, they're only 3 points out. And of all the teams in the league, they have the best special teams. 2nd in power play, 3rd in penalty killing. No one's really close. Off this draw, penalty time is up. Samuelsson is out of the box, and we're down to the last 4.5 of the first.
You have a heck of a race at the top of the Eastern Conference for first overall. The Devils winning this afternoon.
They won 4-1. So the Devils and Ottawa are now tied with 74 points. Philadelphia and idle Toronto have 73. The Flyers win this. Toronto doesn't play. They'll be first in the East, as they had been for most of calendar year 99 until this past Thursday. 1-1 tie. During February, the Rangers have been anywhere from 2 to 6 points out of 8th place. That's the last playoff berth. There has been no change in the top 8 during the last month, except temporarily Boston was ahead for a couple of days. And in the West, there hasn't been a change the entire month. It's been the same top 8. It only looks like 2-3 points and then it's easy, but it's not. Savard jammed one, and that blocked aside by Van Beesbroek as the Rangers were on the rush. Ender played it along. Could not be dragged back in by Langkow. Oh, and a little extra as Zelepukin comes up.
Yeah, this is starting to heat up, isn't it? Really starting to heat up. Good save by Van Beesbroek on the tip by Mark Savard. Mike, last night Boston didn't play well, but they beat Washington at home. And last night Toronto did the Rangers a favor by beating the Florida Panthers. There's a save on the deflection by Savard. Up towards the other end of the ice. Roman Endor gets along the boards there. As you can see, Zelepukin had to stick through the legs. Lost his helmet and his balance. Last night with Toronto doing the Rangers a favor and the other teams a favor by beating Florida, former Ranger defenseman Alexander Karpovtsev was head-to-head against Pavel Bure all game long, and Pavel unable to get his normal offense in that game. They say Karpovtsev did a great job shutting Bure down after Bure had a great night the night before in Detroit in the 5-5 tie.
One of the leading plus-minus players in the league. Centering pass back. Desjardins, a shot! Oh, and a rocket went off the boards. Worked along by Leclerc, but taken by Ulf Samuelsson. Blocked by Lindros. He and Samuelsson tangle, and it skipped on to be played by Savard. Or check that by Nedved. Puck came back on. Nedved with a pass that skipped off of John McLean. McLean able to knock it through. McLean moving in. Circles around behind the net. Looks for Nedved. Bam on the shot. A penalty coming up. It'll be against the Flyers, and play is stopped.
That's Chris Therien. He'll have some trouble with the puck as he reaches for it, can't get it cleanly, and the Rangers move in. Jones will end up taking a penalty right in front of the net. You see he came back and hauled down Adam Graves. The Rangers on a power play.
Call is a hook. The Rangers will work with Brian Leetch back on 1 point. Matthew Schneider on the other. A native New Yorker. Leetch with a pass ahead. McLean flipped one that's knifed down by Graves. Graves moving to it. Desjardins bumped him off. Therien clears, and it skipped off Schneider's stick and went back down. The shots are 6-5 Rangers. Half a minute gone on the power play as Leetch brings it ahead. Given over to Matthew Schneider, back to Leetch. Gains the line and chipped one past Luke Richardson, taken by McLean. Richardson defending him. McLean with a little room. Looks to Graves, dealt it into him. Graves looking for Nedved, but the pass blocked aside and then held to the back of the net by Richardson.
Rangers 1 for 1 on the power play, but it was a clearing pass by Van Beesbroek that was blocked by Graves. And the Graves play led to the goal. Graves has 13 power play goals to lead the Rangers this season. This is where the Rangers miss Gretzky the most, I think, is that John Muckler doesn't have that defined playmaker that would set up behind the net and set up the scoring chances for the Rangers. Gretzky has 24 power play assists on the season. Ronnie Hextall backing up John Van Beesbroek for this one. Malhotra getting some power play time for the Rangers, and this is very, very different for him.
Off the faceoff, helped over to Leetch. Leetch shoves it back along again. Malhotra stood up by Richardson. Both of them went down and are back up again. Back to Leetch. Shovels it back along further. Worked on back to the point, and a shot by Brennan came back to him. Leetch again, able to spirit it on through. Sundstrom wants to get it to Malhotra. That jammed around, and it's Lindros clearing back out with 2 minutes left in the period and 45 on the kill.
It was Brennan on the wrist shot from the point, and Brindamore did a nice job blocking it.
Leetch walking it ahead. Brian Leetch's pass was blocked. Brennan hammered it right back in. Around it came for Sundstrom. Watched there by Tertishny. Cycled it on for the shove back to the point. Leetch there waiting. Flipped it back along, and it clicked off of McGillis. Dug out by Malhotra. Manny Malhotra back to Leetch. Hands it across to Brennan. Shakes it back for Malhotra, who bunted it down and rolled along further. Knuble put it around behind. Sundstrom there for Leetch, but it's deflected back out, and a race on, and Brennan will get there as the Flyers change.
Rangers power play. Their defensemen have had no time at all to handle the puck. Flyer penalty killers. Their forwards are up high on the Rangers defense so far and just closing Leach right off.
Penalty box empty. Tamer's pass ricocheted off a Flyers skate. Nearing the final minute of the first period. Loaded back in by Stevens. Knife down to the bottom. Hitting the post with the shot was Fraser. Fraser digs to it again. Worked it back over Savard. Back on the point. And it went off Ulf Samuelson's stick. Great opportunity for the Rangers. Tamer with a pass that's cut off and sped back in by Jones. Around it comes for John LeClair with 40 to play in the period. Then to Jones again. For Lindros, who turns. Fed it back over Desjardins. In front, score! Jones! And it's 2-1 Flyers.
What a goal by the big unit of 5 here. Therrien, Desjardins, LeClair, Lindros, and Jones. They always seem to play together 5-on-5. The Rangers had Fraser break in, and I think it was around Therrien. Yes, the left defenseman can't get to Fraser. He shoots it off the goalpost. It would have been 2-1 Rangers. Instead, the puck goes down to the other end of the ice. And watch the movement by the Flyers. Everybody's moving. All 5 black jerseys. Pass in front, deflection, goal scored, and man, is this a beautiful goal. Out of the goal crease is Jones. He gets the stick on the puck, even though Stevens is all over him. He's able to score, and the Flyers have the 2-1 lead late in the period. That's a great goal. All 5 players didn't stand still. They were all moving, and a nice pass by Desjardins.
The young man out of Western Michigan University, Keith Jones, gets his 16th of the year, his 15th with the Flyers. All right, ahead with this comes Nedved. Shooting, he scores! And the game is tied!
What a game. This knocked the water bottle all the way back to the backboard. Off the top of the net, a lethal wrist shot. I mean, he just whipped it right over the shoulder underneath the crossbar, and we're tied at 2. Center ice faceoff. Nedved, a left-handed shot, used Desjardins as a screen, and that's a rifle up top. Water bottle on the ice. What a great shot. Talked about the Flyers' beautiful goal. Look at the shot here. Does it hit Desjardins? I don't know. I know the screen was there. It's a lethal wrist shot by Nedved. We're tied at 2.
Pitched by Jones, brought by LeClair for Lindros, and it's tipped away. He got it back. On a short side drive, wouldn't go home. Lindros again, and checked off was LeClair with 7 to go in the period. It's Graves driving, and it went wide. In the final 3, Luke Richardson flipped it along off Nedved. The buzzer, the period, they're standing.
It's an ovation here at Madison Square Garden. We saw it all. Penalty killing, hitting, goaltending, goal scoring. High, intense hockey.
Coming up on the New Dodge Intermission, Chris Myers will bring you scores and highlights, plus the plays of the weekend, the latest in NHL trade news. That's all next at intermission time, 2-2 after 1.
You're watching the NHL on Fox. The NHL on Fox is brought to you by Wendy's Crispy Chicken Nuggets. Don't forget the nuggets. By Quaker State for protection beyond 3,000 miles under any driving conditions. By Nike. And by Pep Boys. Cars like us. People love us.
First period has been played, interestingly, and the Rangers and Flyers are tied 2-2. We are awaiting the start of the second period and more surprises.
You know, it was interesting. At the end of the period, the whole Madison Square Garden, all the fans stood and cheered. And during the intermission up here, you get to talk to the other broadcasters who were doing radio, etc. And everybody was just bubbling with how the first period was played. It was fast-paced, a lot of hitting, some wild goals, and some great plays. It was just a fun period to be a part of.
Eric Lindros, of course, has been splendid for the Flyers over 6.5 seasons. But he gives a little credit to his line mate, a guy named Keith Jones, who scored in that period. We asked him about Keith.
He's got a quick stick in front of the net. He bangs in a lot of goals. He's got an underrated shot. He's a smart player. He's not going to beat you in a skills competition, but he's certainly going to give it his best every night and 9 times out of 10 surprise you with what he can do.
You know, during the first period, Jones scored the goal there, and he also had the primary assist to set up Lindros, and he could talk. Now, I talked to Lindros off camera, and Eric said, man, can he talk? The other day we were playing up in Ottawa. He was opposite an Ottawa player by the name of Johansson, and he said they were yapping at each other. And finally, Jones just took his arm, put his arm right around Johansson, and said, is your mom in the stands? Let's have her take a picture of us, and I'll sign it for you after the game, he said. I mean, Lindros said he looked. and he started to laugh on the ice. This guy can get you going in all different ways.
Well, the Ulf Samuelsson snippet will probably be coming next intermission because I'm sure there's something he's been doing in this game. Let's take a look at the Bud Light stats. Keith Jones has figured in this first period, as John mentioned, with a goal and an assist. The face-offs, 16-5. Block shots, the Rangers blocked the first 7. The Flyers came back with the next 4. And the total shots on goal were 2 apiece for the longest time. And then it finished out Rangers 8 and the Flyers 7. When the period gets underway, the penalty box will be empty. John Van Beesbroek will be at the end to our right. Roger Nielsen, the coach of the Philadelphia Flyers back in the 1991 season, had both Van Beesbroek and Mike Richter to work with. So he alternated them perfectly through 76 games of an 80-game schedule before playing Richter the last 4 to finish up the year. I don't know that there's been any more perfect rotation than they had through almost that entire season.
And then Van Beesbroek played for Roger for the Florida Panthers, and they got themselves to the Stanley Cup Finals. The Panthers did a good job there, as did Van Beesbroek, and now John playing goal for the Flyers along with Ronnie Hextall, one of the older tandems in the entire league. Both Hextall and Van Beesbroek, lots of experience there.
Van Beesbroek 35, Ron Hextall will be 35 the first week of May. Ulf Samuelsson, Ryan Leach, John McLean, and ahead, but it wound up going through Nedved, punched on by McLean, tries to burrow his way through and is just checked off by Jones. Got it around behind though, and Nedved chases down. Peter Nedved with the unassisted goal in the final 27 seconds of the first period to tie it. This is Graves trying to work to the front, but forced to the outside by Eric Desjardins. Good, strong defense by Desjardins on Graves. Nedved pumped off. Desjardins still working. Able to get it back across and onto Terry.
Great example of why Desjardins is being talked about as the best defenseman in the league, the Norris Trophy. People around Philadelphia appreciate his play, and he showed it there against Adam Graves.
Tangled up are Graves and Jones, and a good shot gotten away by Eric Lindros. Turned behind to Leclerc now, looking for Jones, who has just bodied away and then worked on by Leach. A penalty coming up. It'll be on the Rangers. Angled back for the touch by the Rangers, and they'll go shorthanded. We'll be back with the Philadelphia power play right after this.
Right in front of the net, Leach and Jones. Jones with a goal plus the assist so far. Here he takes the penalty, obstruction holding. Obstruction means you're holding the person before the puck got there.
Quick shot by Brindamore, blocked aside by the sprawling Mike Richter. Handed onto the back. Carl Dykhouse spins it around off the tip of the stick of Brindamore. And so the Rangers look to clear and do.
The Flyers start their number 2 unit on the power play. The number 1 unit was on the ice to draw the power play, so they rest for a shift on the bench. And if the power play goes long enough, the Lindros line will be right back on the ice.
Renberg, Brindamore, and Zelepukin for the Flyers. Tertichny with a pass ahead for Valeri Zelepukin. Zelepukin trying to work in, but is pushed offside, and so the clock stopped again.
Zelepukin held on to the puck. And at that point, Renberg, pardon me, was moving up. He wanted the puck, and Zelepukin didn't move it to him. And Renberg sort of turned around and looked at the bench and said, he's got to headman the puck, and I wouldn't be offside. Now, earlier we talked about Graves having one of the best years of his career, folks, and Desjardins stays between Graves and the net. Look at 37 on 9. 9 does not get position on the inside of 37. And this is why people in Philadelphia are saying Desjardins offensively is right at the top of the heap with scoring points for defensemen. He's been great defensively. He has a wonderful plus-minus. What a season he's having.
And that translates as Norris Trophy for being the best defenseman if they get their way in Philadelphia. Thrown by Graves right on goal. Covered and held by John Van Beesbroek.
Van Beesbroek here on the power play takes the face-off, but he doesn't mind taking the face-offs in his own zone because they win the majority of them, so there's no fear in that area.
Tonight on Fox, after an all-new World's Funniest, Entertainment Weekly readers call it the best TV sitcom ever. A new Simpsons. Then Katie Seagal serves a gourmet meal on a new That 70s Show. Plus, would you give your life to change the future? An all-new X-Files. It all starts tonight at 7, 6 Central on Fox.
Lankow takes the draw. He's a left-handed shot. Lindros is a right-handed shot, so Lankow would try to draw it back into that corner. Try to go to your backhand, and that's what he did. If it was Lindros taking the draw, Mike, and he went to his backhand, he could put the puck on goal, his own net, and he'd be drawing it that way. So Lankow was the smart choice, and he won it.
Desjardins bringing it on. Played it ahead to Lindros. closed off by Ender. And so it's Brent Fettig, former Philadelphia Flyer, rockets it back down. He, Mark Recchi, and Eric Lindros were on the crazy 8 line. Recchi was 8, Fettig was 18, and Lindros, of course, still with the 88 at that time. Jammed on in Graves. Oh, and then Lindros rammed into Graves as he was falling. Puck came across for Leclerc, but an offside. What about Mark Recchi? Where do you think he'll be next year?
Boy, after this trade today where Theo Fleury leaves Calgary and goes on to Colorado, it makes you wonder, will there be a domino effect? Will Mark Recchi move on, or will Montreal try and re-sign him? I don't think they can. The story with Recchi, you know, he went in with his agent, Rick Curran, and talked to Réjean Houle, who's the general manager of Montreal. And they talked numbers, etc. Réjean Houle said, you know something, Mark, I understand you've got a chance here to wait to become an unrestricted free agent July 1st, move on and basically hit the lottery, sign for some big dollars. Réjean Houle did the same thing when he left the NHL to go to the WHA. So he says he understands exactly what it's all about. Sometimes you just leave as a financial part of business.
Lindros to the back, Desjardins. Blocked and started back out by Nedved. Might get a breakaway. Nedved crosses down to the ice. And what do we have?
Penalty shot or a penalty?
Delayed penalty call for right now.
Peter Nedved outworked Desjardins. Desjardins battled back and took the penalty.
If Rob Schick points to the center face-off circle, it's a penalty shot. He calls a hook.
He had a lot of time to think about it. You know exactly what the criteria is regarding penalty shots. And Rob Schick on the delayed call had those thoughts, I would think, going through his mind. He decided a 2-minute minor and not the penalty shot.
Possession of the puck. Does he have it?
Yes.
Is he clear of the red line?
Yes.
No one between puck carrier and goalie?
Yes.
Foul from behind?
Yes.
Denied reasonable scoring opportunity?
Yes. He could have handed out a penalty shot there if you really think about it. When you talk about your criteria, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more of them, whether they're justified or not, but that's my bias.
Yeah, you can see Desjardins faked the shot, tried to move the puck to Lindros, and Peter Nedved read it. Nedved's in on the breakaway. He's attacked from behind. He's pulled down. No shot on goal. Is this what you call a clear breakaway? He certainly was ahead of Desjardins by about a stride. Anyway, the penalty's been called. No penalty shot. 2 seconds to go on the minor to Leach, and the Rangers will have a power play for 1:58.
Shots are 10-8 Rangers in the game. Now, New Jersey has already defeated Phoenix 4-1. Dallas a lead on Los Angeles. Washington a lead on Pittsburgh. Those are 1-0 games, and Richter had to act quickly to stoke that one away. Jody Hull fired that shot. Fed back over, and wiping out now is Nedved. Now turned back over for Savard. Brought back on by Leach. Angled back in for play by Stevens. Second effort, but it is pulled off and lifted back off the boards by Hull. So the Rangers with 90 to work with. Just under 16.5 to go, second period. The Nedved goal late in the first picked up an assist for Ulf Samuelsson on the play to him. Here is a shot by Stevens that flopped wide off Dykhuis's stick. Jammed on back, but read by Leach and held. Dropped back on, but Bertichny took his man and flipped right back along for Savard. Savard fed one in front. They score! Scott Fraser with the goal.
Mike Forbes had a chance to move the puck out of the zone, and he couldn't get it out. It was kept in, and then Savard, who is so patient with the puck, made some pass. Now here the Rangers move up the ice, working the power play. On this side of the ice, in there is where Forbes is going to have the chance to move the puck out, right here, and he can't. Now it's kept in the zone, and you're going to see Savard get the puck, and watch his patience. He doesn't pass it, doesn't pass it, doesn't pass it, passes it, bingo, right-handed shot. Remember earlier we were talking about the Flyers, how they should shoot the puck off the pass? This is what happens when you shoot the puck off the pass. The goalie can't get across. So it's the first of the season for Fraser, who's just been called up because of a Todd Harvey injury, and the Rangers lead 3-2.
Icing call. Samil Will down in the corner as the young man from Dartmouth has broken the tie. The Rangers have the lead on the Flyers 3-2 early in the second. Some of the younger Ranger fans here this afternoon watching their team take a lead here. Fraser from Savard and Stevens at 3:57 of the second period.
That stat we just saw tells you the Rangers would like to score more goals.
Oh, and a rocket went wide from McGillis.
And so would a lot of teams in the league.
Flyers have some concerns about defense in 6 of the last 9 going into today. They'd given up 4 goals or more.
Like that's what they worked on yesterday in practice in Tampa Bay before they flew up to New York, with team defense.
Hurried shot by Renberg. Didn't get much on it and then was muscled down. That work being done by Chris Tamer. Bertishny on. Jostled off was Kovalenko. Walked ahead by McGillis. McGillis breezes around behind and looks for an opening. Gave it to the back. Bertishny a shot and it ricocheted off someone in front. Didn't look like that got all the way through the ring.
I think it may have hit Renberg. All 5 Rangers were down towards the goal line and the point man was wide open.
Fire wagon changed by the Rangers as it's brought ahead by Renberg. Slithered through for Brindamore, but he's cut right off by John McLean. Dumped along for Graves. Tipped one, but into traffic, and so it's Tamer.
You mentioned earlier McGillis playing with a sore neck. So is John McLean. He had an MRI on it yesterday, and everything was fine. And one of those things called a burner, where you have a nerve damage in your neck. And boy, every time you go to do something, it just stings.
Well, there's so much movement, let alone collision, that we take for granted when you have to play the wing like that.
Hockey players are tough.
Nedved, a shot. Blocked down by Van Beesbrook. And charging to the front was McLean. There'll be a penalty coming up.
Slashing call. And it's against Keith Jones. He's been everywhere. He's either taking a penalty or drawing a penalty or scoring or getting assists. He broke a stick on the slash, and the call is made by Rob Schick, the referee. So Jones goes for 2, gets himself a new stick, and the Rangers have 2 power play goals in this game. And the last one was a beauty. The pass from Savard to Fraser. So an important part of the game now for the Flyers. They trail by 1, and they need themselves a good penalty kill.
Power play 2 for 3 for the Rangers. 2 shots taken, and they both went in. One was thrown by Van Beesbrook off of Graves.
That was Nedved. There's one chop. And the stick through the legs. Well, I think the original play where the stick went across Nedved right here, right across the left thigh. That broke the stick right near the left hand of Keith Jones. So Jones sits for a couple. He's been involved, hasn't he?
Indeed. Ever since he came to Philadelphia, cheerful guy. Get him in, great interview.
Yeah.
Mean guy out there.
Oh, baby.
Do you have anybody you remember from your playing days that was such an annoying guy as he was, and Claude Lemieux and that type of player?
Well, that's a good question.
Vic Hadfield? Was he annoying?
Nick Fotiu was, but he was on our team.
Drive! And that grab by Van Beesbrook and held. I'll bet it was a guy who's in this building today, Gary Dornhofer. He didn't say much.
Boy, he was annoying to play against. I mean, as a goaltender playing in Philadelphia, the Spectrum, where I happened to really I enjoyed the Spectrum because it was a smaller building and the people were on top of you, and it was always a hard-fought game. And as a goaltender going in there, it was easy to get your adrenaline flow going because it was hard. I called it Western Canadian style. It was just a battle. And Dornhofer used to always be on top of the goal crease, and all you saw was the black hockey pants right by your nose.
Nedved tapped it back. Schneider got it to Nedved. To Schneider. Big drive off of Van Beesbrook. Reached by John McLean, but then he was bodied off and taken to the corner by Desjardins. And it's angled back down. Just over 14 minutes to go in the second. Lindros and Jones have the goals for Philadelphia. Graves, Nedved, and Fraser for the Rangers. Leach feeds. Fed across by Nedved.
Flyers are not happy. Dykhouse was tripped up by McLean at center ice. So it made it a 4-on-2. And the Rangers tic-tac-toed the puck right into the goal net. Now what happened? Oh, it's over in here somewhere, right there. I don't know what happened to Dykhouse. McLean says he didn't do it. The Rangers went ahead. The pass worked. And you see Nedved scoring. Nobody's in the goal crease at all. And a goal scored. It's a 3rd power play goal for the Rangers. And they lead 4-2. Boy, the Flyers were upset. What a beautiful play. It's a gorgeous goal, very similar to the goal we saw by the Flyers earlier. Van Beesbrook playing the shooter. The puck got by him right across to Nedved for the slam dunk. Adam Graves moved the puck across. Nedved scored.
Graves and Leach with the assists at 6:09.
Try and figure out exactly what happened up near center ice with Dykhouse. Did he make contact with McLean? Did both players not realize it? Or was there a pick play? It's up in here. Dykhouse is this defenseman. Is there contact? You know, the stick of McLean may have tripped up Dykhouse. Accidental or not, I don't know. It's not called. Maybe the Rangers got a break, maybe not. I know they got a power play goal and they lead 4-2, and the Flyers are not happy. The Rangers want the Flyers to get their team to center ice, so they counter. The Flyers here are having a silent protest against Rob Schick right now. Finally, a couple of defensemen skate out, and here comes the line combination. The Rangers will then counter with their line. Flyers aren't happy with Rob Schick on that play, and the Rangers obviously want the game to continue. Rangers have had 4 goals on 15 shots, 3 of them on the power play.
Flyers are the 3rd best defensive team in the league. Despite that, they've given up 4 or more in 7 of the last 10 games. Adam Graves over to have a word with Rob Schick about something. Now it will be Lindros and Nedved to draw. Nedved 2nd of the day, 14th of the year on the power play.
Oh boy. Lindros, as soon as the puck was dropped, gave Nedved 2 shots with his stick. The Flyers now are going to play an angry game, but they've got to be careful because of their penalty killing. It's not working for them.
Good jostling check by Therrien, but a response with the stick 2 on Nedved. Pitch back along by Leclerc, taken by Jones. Jones put it behind Therrien, who recovers. Therrien flipped it back in. Jammed around behind by Jones. Leclerc flipped one in front. It skipped on back to Therrien. Hurried one, and it went off Lindros' skate, and then kicked wide. An electric sort of atmosphere here at Madison Square Garden. It seems like it's always that way, but more so in these battles with the Flyers, especially when the Rangers are ahead.
13 minutes to go in the 2nd period. The Flyers are a long way from out of this game.
Desjardins collides. Down went Leclerc. Hooked back, but Therrien can take it. Therrien steamed it back in, but went out of play, and so the clock stopped here with the Rangers ahead by the score of 4-2. Ice bags for teammates.
This is that controversial play. The Schick, the referee, is looking to his left. He doesn't see the trip there. He didn't even see it. You can't call what you don't see. He's the only player or the person on the ice that can make the call, the only referee. If there was 2 referees, that might have been called, Mike. I think McLean got Dykhouse with his stick blade on the skates and tripped him up.
This is Kevin Stevens. Fed one across off of Frazier and away from Savard. One thing for sure, it would have been more likely to have been spotted.
Yeah, accidental or not, he tripped him up. And with 2 referees, which I think we'll see in the playoffs, it probably would have been called. That's a pretty good example as to why the league is thinking about going to the 2-referee system. It's awfully hard to see everything. Rob Schick was looking in one direction. The play happened on the other direction, and you can't call it if you don't see it. The linesmen do not have the right to make that call unless it's a major penalty. So
the experiment goes on with the American Hockey League, playing 4-on-4 in sudden death overtime. 4 of the first 5 American League games played that way were decided. And the American League said this week that the email response among fans has been 80% positive for the notion of shifting to 4-on-4 play once you get to sudden death overtime.
Yeah, I like that too. Oh boy, offside here, but that shot on Richter dropped and he had trouble with it. The shot by, I like the American League, at least the NHL's looking at it, but I like the American League thinking about what the fans have to say. That's important. Not only the GMs or coaches or players, what about the fans? They pay the bucks. Let them have a say in this whole situation. The Flyers are offside again, and they've been offside a lot in this game. And that tells you they're either not thinking sometimes or a little uptight.
Kovalenko bumped off by Knuble.
Or anxious.
Quick shot by Brind'Amour, popped high in the air. They have won only 1 of their last 5 games and only 2 of the last 10. Yet they still have a crack at first in the Eastern Conference today. Penalty coming up. Kovalenko on the outside. It'll be against the Rangers. Brind'Amour shot. Great stop by Richter.
And then Tamer hit a home run with the puck. But I think there'll be a penalty upcoming against the Rangers, and Tamer will be the guy going.
Elbowing to Tamer at 8:09. The Flyers get a chance with a man advantage to get back to within 1.
Mike Richter coming off maybe his best save of the game.
McGillis trickled one, but into traffic. Back near McGillis, dumped back out again by Nedved. And it's tapped away from Graves and right to Van Beesbrook to hustle on to Desjardins. Desjardins spirited it back out. Worked on by Langkow to Lindros, and then Langkow taken out of the play.
He was hooked down by Peter Nedved.
Play continues, and the Flyers yelling from their bench, why not a 5-on-3?
It very well could have been, Mike. It's interesting, too. Langkow on the power play. Jones has had a hot game offensively. They take him off the Lindros line for the power play.
Lindros gained the line, got it over to Langkow. Langkow couldn't get the pass away because of Leach. Strong play by him, and it's lifted out again by Brent Fedek. So now McGillis. Clock down to 11 minutes to go in the second. Rangers ahead 4-2 on the strength of 3 power play goals. Flyers with a power play here. Nice work by Lindros. On to Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour circling, fed it to the back. Work back over to Dykhouse. Shooting one, and it's blocked down by the defense. And it's blasted back down by Matt Schneider.
Schneider having a strong game. He's had the flu for the 3rd time this season over the last couple of days, but he looks okay.
Thrown back around behind by Kovalenko. Brind'Amour there. The battle continues. Renberg tries to step by. Brought back up by the Rangers. John McLean able to muscle it back to neutral ice. And a strong game by McLean despite the neck burner today. Half a minute to go on the Flyers power play. The shots are 16-11 Rangers. 8 in this period for the Rangers, 4 for the Flyers. Tertichny brings it back. The heart around, and Richter there to get a piece of it. Bounced over to Renberg. Renberg shuttled it back for Kovalenko. Check that, Brind'Amour. Then back to Renberg again. Handed on back by Richardson. Out in front, and a shot saved by Richter. Brind'Amour just walked out of the corner and got a good chance. Out of the box now is Tamer. Delayed offside as Ender plays, and Schneider put it off a couple of skates. Worked right back on, and pivoting with it is Matthew Schneider.
The Rangers D need a change here. They haven't been able to get to their bench. It's past center ice. They need a change, and again, the puck's turned over. See if Schneider he blasted down. No icing.
Tip back over to Fedek. Fedek wanted to get a pass through for Sundstrom. Sundstrom able to get to it. Sundstrom on the outside, but the pass cut off and steered back across. Fedek swept it back to the corner. Now the Flyers can't get out. Richardson blasted it along. Kicked off a full pot and went all the way down for an icing touch up by Leach.
That was a big penalty kill for the Rangers, and specialty team-wise, it's gone the Rangers' way in this game as we just passed the midpoint of this one. So far in this game, too, face-offs haven't hurt the Rangers and haven't helped the Flyers as much as I thought they would, especially you think of puck possession time on specialty teams. Rangers have blocked 10 shots in the game as the Flyers try to find quality ice to get quality shots on Mike Richter. And again, the previous 3 games between these two teams, only 8 goals scored total. We've already had 6 in this one.
Philadelphia 26 face-off wins to 10 for the Rangers. Block shots, the Rangers 10 and the Flyers 5.
Savard just told Fraser where he wanted him. The Flyers won the draw.
Savard, one of those players that was talked about being a smaller player, a smaller forward, but boy, if you've got skill, that makes up for a lot, and he's got some tremendous passers.
It's more than that, Mike. He's a little cocky, and I think that suits him.
Bob Clarke next to a Ranger Stanley Cup banner. He was captain of the team when they won their last 2 in 74 and 75. Not a stand-pat general manager. He's made 9 deals this year. 9 players have left and 8 have come. Big shot by Fraser. Went off of Van Beesbrook. Richardson banked it around. They had a good year last year, the Flyers, but it's not a good year if it's not a great year, and that only comes from being the one survivor at the end of it all.
That's what they're trying to position themselves for. Bobby's a little concerned about their streak. 2-6-1 in their last 9 games going into this one. He says, sometimes you get into slumps, but I'm a little concerned because it's been a little bit longer than we expected. I should also say hello to Wayne Cashman, one of the coaches for the Flyers. A couple of real tough back surgeries. I wish him all the best. One of the good people in the game. Former Boston Bruin, great player. Now a coach with the Flyers.
Yeah, we sure miss seeing him at these games. Hopefully soon. Nice move by Malhotra. Gets it ahead to Mike Knuble. Knuble fed one across, bounced away from Leach, who recovered and golfed it behind. Sundstrom with it there. Therrien bodies him and gets some help from Jones. Puck left behind. Therrien will try again. Waiting is Ulf Samuelsson. Wrapped pretty well by Zelepukin. But Desjardins emerges. Seems to happen a lot. Eric Desjardins with a pass ahead now to Langkow. Crisscrossing with Zelepukin, steams it up to Jones. Jones yanked it on back for Therien. Wrapped it around for Jones, but it's collared by John McLean. Forced off a glass support, and the Rangers chip. Will they get it out? Yes. Neutral ice Therien must take. 7:20 left. Back ahead, it's tapped for Lindros. Shakes by. Feeds one across for Lindros. Oh, he couldn't get the shot away because of McLean. Another shot, and it's blocked by Richter. Unbelievable defense, and here's McLean offensively, yanking it on back. Wrist shot. Graves.
Short side up high on Van Beesbroek, but I'll tell you, the play at the other end was spectacular. Look at this move by Lindros. The pass. Now watch McLean stop a slam dunker by Lindros, and here come the Rangers after Richter made the save. Graves over on the right side. Takes the pass, and look at this shot, folks. Top corner. Bad angle, but a great shot. One Van Beesbroek should not allow. However, give Graves credit. Boy, Van Beesbroek left a lot of room on the top side, on the short side. A lot of room there. Accurate shot. The defensive play by John McLean on Lindros is what helped set up the offense for the Rangers in a 3-goal lead.
McLean and Nedved get the assist. So Nedved with 2 goals and an assist today. Graves with 2 goals and an assist as well. 5-2 in favor of the Rangers. Puck turned over. Sundstrom back across. It's worked back to Tamer. Chopped it back along through for Sundstrom behind. Sundstrom defended well, though, by Tertichny. Tertichny wrapped it along, kept alive by Tamer. Right on back to the corner for Knuble. Mike Knuble cycles it along. Malhotra steps to that. Manny Malhotra, just 18, trickled it around behind, wedged in front for Knuble, and then another try. Oh, Malhotra is robbed by Van Beesbroek.
And Malhotra trying to score for the 3rd straight game. Got one in Calgary, got one against Phoenix, and here he almost had one, and Van Beesbroek made a real good save on this one. Some forecheck by the Rangers. Leads to the scoring chance, and the Rangers' confidence is starting to soar in this game. Mike, for the Flyers, their penalty killing hasn't been very good. Their power play hasn't been very good. And right here you see Malhotra, who will end up getting the shot, works the puck low. One-handed play by Sundstrom. Their turnover, and there's the shot and save. Another look at the shot to the blocking side. It was Brind'Amour who turned the puck over. And he doesn't do that very often. Malhotra with a shot, Van Beesbroek the save. Now you look at the game for the Flyers from their point of view. They played hard. They played with a lot of emotion. They forechecked. They hit. But the penalty killing hurt them. Their power play hasn't worked. Goaltending-wise, Richter hasn't had a lot of work, but he's been better than Van Beesbroek. So there's 3 key areas in the game as to why the Rangers are winning this thing.
Flyers earlier this season had a string where they were winless in 7, which was their longest frustration over the last 5 years. But they had a 15-game, an 8-game, and a 5-game unbeaten string. Like almost every other team in the league, they've had a little of both this year.
As we mentioned, 3 power play goals in the game. The first one, Van Beesbroek made a mistake on the clearing pass, and it caromed off the right thigh of Adam Graves. And then the last 2 were really nice plays. We'll take a look at all 3 of them. There's the clearing pass off Van Beesbroek. Graves scored to tie the game at 1. And then here's the Savard pass across to Fraser. That's how you shoot the puck off the pass, quick. Van Beesbroek, no chance. And then here's the play across to Nedved from Graves after Dykhouse was picked and knocked down near center ice. So the Rangers' power play has been a lethal weapon here this afternoon.
Savard, Fraser, and Stevens, the line out for John Muckler's New York Rangers. The big boys come out for the Philadelphia Flyers. They've got Jones back on that line with Leclerc and Lindros now. It's yanked across, hoping for Jones, but instead lifted along and back to the safety of neutral ice. Just over 5.5 to go, second period. The Rangers ahead by 3.
Rangers trying now to change their defense on the fly, and they pull it off to get Samuelson and Leach to go opposite the Lindros line.
Lindros hit pretty well by both Nedved and Samuelson. Puck squirted through, and it's Graves. Adam Graves bringing it back out. What a productive line this one has been today. Dropped back to the deep corner for John McLean. Thrown to the front, but then ricocheted off him, and then McLean was smeared by Therien. Boy, I like that corner camera at the right time. Can you ever get the impact of the force of this contest like we just saw?
A real good hit by Chris Therien.
It is McLean again, rammed by Luke Richardson, puck to the front, trying to circle as Graves pulls loose. Adam Graves wedged to the corner again, and Richardson on him.
Confidence for this line for the Rangers has gone up during the game. They were dominated in the first period, but in this period, they're getting better and better.
Crowd just going nuts on their play. Here's Nedved, spun it back across. Leach, Nedved cruising in, the feed to the front, and it's grabbed by Van Beesbroek. New Dodge Intermission Report. Chris Myers with the scores and highlights. JD will talk with Wayne Gretzky live here between periods, so we're looking forward to that. Scores and highlights. Bring you up to date on the other games being played in the National Hockey League this afternoon.
Adam Graves with a souvenir around the lips. The training staff working on him during the stoppage. It was Adam Graves going head-to-head number 9 against number 88. And when you battle with Eric Lindros, these things happen. Well, this is a battle. And I think the Graves-Nedved line with John McLean on the right side, again, as we mentioned earlier, I thought the Lindros line dominated in the first period. They really were forechecking and down low and made things happen. But as the game has moved along, the level of just, I don't know if it's concentration or what it is, but the Nedved line has gotten a lot stronger. Just confidence, I guess.
From the tie-up, it is Knuble, then Sundstrom, then a wrist shot by Malhotra that was wide. Desjardins is over. Good tempo for the Rangers this period. Fed to Malhotra, and a shot blocked aside and then covered by Van Beesbroek.
The last couple of shifts with the Rangers forechecking, getting some shots. Van Beesbroek is trying his best just to slow it down right now. Face off if he can, just to slow down things so his team can re-up their tempo and get their forecheck going. It looks like the Flyers have sagged a little bit mentally right now, as there's still 4:12 to go in this second period. The youngest player in the NHL is Manny Malhotra. The Vancouver Canucks wanted Malhotra to be part of the deal if the Rangers were to get Pavel Bure. Rangers said no, and that was it for the Bure deal.
Brind'Amour gets a high sticking penalty at 15:48, so the Rangers with 3 power play goals will get a chance at another. They are 3 for 4 on their power plays with 5 shots. And Adam Graves, you know, Bobby Carpenter, who has to work against Lindros an awful lot too, was asked, what's the number one thing in playing against Lindros? He said it takes more courage than anything else.
That's very well said. Bobby Carpenter playing for the New Jersey Devils.
We saw what Graves was wearing. Anybody that plays against him will wear some of that. Thrown to the front, tipped by Graves, and it went wide.
It's a set play, a wrist shot from the blue line for Graves to deflect it.
Nedved to Graves, flipped to the front, and it went off the back of Lindros. Jody Hall up with it, challenged though, and hit by Leach, and it's turned back over. Fed in deep, controlled by McLean, whips one, and saved by Van Beesbroek. Around behind Nedved, turning with it. Peter Nedved, half a minute gone on his team's eventful power play. Thrown back to the corner by Schneider. Knifed away by McGillis. Chip back on. They hope for Lindros to clear, but they can't. Puck came back to Leach. Feeds it back across. Schneider with a drive. Pass stop. Loose puck forced to the corner by Tertichny. And jammed back out by Lindros and down.
Flyers down by 3. You think of shorthanded goals, but they only have 3 on the season.
Well, the low point for any team in the league. They're tied with some other teams with that number. Fed back across now for control. Fraser holds, throws it across, but it is lifted back down by Carl Dykhuis. To the last 45 of the penalty kill, under 3 minutes to go, second period. Nedved with 2, Graves with 2, Fraser with 1 for the Rangers, Lindros and Jones for the Flyers, nearly a steal. And the follow-up now comes for the big drive by Langkow. He scores! Langkow with a short-handed goal. And it's 5-3.
Mike, it was Bureau and Langkow, the 2 forwards on the penalty kill, and with 32 seconds to go on the Brind'Amour penalty, Langkow just labels one top corner. Great shot. But it's Bureau who's down low who forced the first play. And in the second play, as the Rangers flew the zone, is where Langkow found the puck, and it's a great shot. Man, that's a great shot, top corner. Here's where the puck is kept in nicely by Langkow. The Ranger 2 forwards didn't see the puck, and there's the shot. How's that for accuracy? Gorgeous shot, 4th shorthanded goal of the season. Bureau originally had made a play where he upset the Rangers' breakout pattern on the power play. This goal could change the complexion of this game completely.
Unassisted goal for Langkow, his first shorthanded goal for the Flyers and his 12th overall in the year. 12th goal of the year. Now here's Schneider beating it around behind. 16 to go on the power play. Follow-up from Knuble, but that skipped on to Carl Dykhouse. Closed off by Knuble, and the puck tipped back out by Langkow, brought on by Mark Bureau. Bureau wants to set. Langkow dubbed his shot, and it came on goal for the Richter stop, and the pass too far for Knuble. Penalty time is up. Therrien back to play in the final 2:10 of the second.
Eric Lindros has gone to the Flyers locker room, Mike, and I don't know what that's about. Let's look earlier on the penalty kill with the Flyers. This is Bureau in tight. The Rangers are setting up their breakout. They've got a man up here, a man here to cut across, man coming out of the corner. Bureau backs up. Now he forces the play on Brennan. There's the pass that got the Rangers in trouble. And then Brennan scooped the puck ahead. The Rangers flew the zone. And there is Langkow keeping a play alive at the blue line right there. And the shot. Just watch the accuracy. Marvel at the accuracy of this shot. I mean, that's gorgeous. Right over the glove, past the arm, inside the goalpost. And we have a new hockey game.
Checking across the way, I think the equipment manager, Turk Evers, is still at the bench, so it might be a physical problem rather than equipment for Lindros. Meanwhile, the battling two aside behind the net. Under 2 minutes to go. You can see the time and score there. The Rangers ahead, but the advantage they have of 3 has been cut by 1. Rod Brind'Amour tries for Leclerc, but it skips back down. No icing. Ulf Samuelsson back to blast that one around. It's kept alive by Desjardins, trying to muscle it by Tamer. Gets it for the feed behind to Jones. Back to Desjardins. Around now for Jones, who's wrapped up by Tamer. Coming by is John Leclerc with a backhander that's tipped aside by Samuelsson. To the last minute 20 of the period. Shaken back on for Leclerc, and a penalty coming up to the Rangers. Circling now is Leclerc. John Leclerc ragging. They get the extra man from the bench. Big blast, and it ricocheted off the iron.
And knocked the water bottle off the top of the net. Mike Richter went down, didn't see the shot. It was grazed off the crossbar and the water bottle. That was close. Delayed penalty now being called. Obstruction holding against the Rangers. Puck on edge. It's a rising shot. Bang! Look at Richter. He's down trying to find the shot. Didn't see the puck. Ooh, was that close? Van Beesbroek went to the bench for the extra attacker. 5-3 Rangers, 1:08 to go in the second, and now the Flyers have a very important power play ahead of them.
Tamer the hold with 1:08 to go in the period.
Tamer without the helmet in front of the net, working on Jones, and there's the headlock, and that's why the penalty is called. Jones, another play that he's involved with. At least 2 penalties he's drawn. He's taken a couple. He has a goal. He has an assist. And now he sits as his team goes on the power play. Let's see what the Flyers do here. There's no Lindros. He's gone to the locker room. We're not exactly sure why, but he is not there to play the power play. Langkow moves from the second unit to the first unit to play with Leclerc and Zelepukin out there.
It was Zelepukin that had that ripping shot just a moment ago. 1:08 left in the period.
Slight delay as Richter got himself a fresh water bottle. 1:08 to go, as you mentioned. Power play Flyers. They trail by 2.
Is that like a can that gets dinged? You don't want to take it out of the supermarket. So
I think it's now Samuelsson skates. His stick's broken. Did he do something during the stoppage?
It's one of those square puck games up in Kingston that they play every year. You have a stick like that.
You wonder if he did it on purpose to find a delay here, just to slow things down a little bit. The Flyers, since the shorthanded goal, have put a little pressure on here.
Damon Langkow on the draw with 1:08 to go in the second. Won by the Flyers, nicely controlled by Langkow. Around behind for Leclerc. Work to the outside, Desjardins, back to McGillis. Back to Desjardins. Fires, it's deflected away. A sprawling play made by Brent Fennick. Leach fighting. Puck popped up off Langkow. Boy, what some crunching in the far boards, and emerging from that for a moment was Leclerc. Now Zelepukin gets some help from Langkow. Oh, was he ever hit by Samuelsson? Play continues. It's Leclerc on the outside. On back to Desjardins. Hands on and gets it back from Zelepukin.
No stick for Samuelsson.
Zelepukin there. Samuelsson barehanded on across. Shot by Desjardins. It's out by Richter. Scramble and popped up in the air. And is cleared back down by the Rangers.
Did Samuelsson stop the shot with the open net? He may have. Flyers power play here looks really good.
I'm glad we've got a period of this left. 10 seconds to go in the second. Drilled back in. There'll be carryover power play time unless they score in the last 5. LeClaire centers, guided away by Leach. Drilled by Langkow and saved by Richter at the horn.
The score after 2 plays, the Rangers 5, the Flyers
5-3, the Rangers after 2. Unpredictability tantamount here. Chris Myers with the new Dodge Intermission Report after these messages and a word from your local Fox station and JD with Wayne Gretzky. Rangers 5, Flyers 3 at the end of 2. The Flyers to have a power play when we come back for the third period. 25 years ago, drying gloves wouldn't have been necessary. Guys on either team didn't wear them long enough. John and I in a moment. Sunday in New York. Notice that Empire State Building back there. King Kong has been brought in by Neil Smith to play in the alumni game afterwards, and peering over the top of that building under the construction, Godzilla. Bobby Clark has gotten him. So things never seem to change, do they? Entertaining game, though. 5-3, and Philadelphia will have a power play for a few seconds.
The second period, the Lindros line only had the 1 shot on goal. Langkow gets a huge shorthanded goal to cut it from a 3-goal Ranger lead to just 2 now. And Lindros, from what we've been told, he missed the last 3 or 4 minutes of the period. He had an equipment problem. He's been gone for a portion of the first period and the second period. I think it's a skate problem from what we've been told. So we'll see if he's able to come back and play the full 20 minutes as far as the third period goes. He means a lot to this team. Langkow's shorthanded goal was a big one for their team.
The most interesting thing for you about this third period coming up is the question I think we all have in our minds, whether we'll see the captaincy, and we do. Eric Lindros will be back. The second most interesting thing, however, career wins at this site, Madison Square Garden. Ed Giacomin 128, Mike Richter only 1 away, John Van Beesbrook only 3 away, and 4th place, John Davidson.
Kind of a nasty drop there. My residence was down the road here, Lenox Hill Hospital. That's where I spent a lot of time with back and knee problems. Those were the numbers from 1968 when this place opened.
Yes, sir, but one of your great old edifices was imploded yesterday with your memories inside the old St. Louis Arena.
Yeah,
history.
I was a little depressed. Well, that was one of the great old arenas in this league, and the fans in St. Louis had a lot of fun playing there. Played there for 2 years before being moved here to New York. And yeah, you kind of hate to see the old places go. I hated to see the old Chicago Stadium go, and the Boston, the Gardens is gone now. But they say bigger and newer is better. I'm not so sure I agree with all that stuff.
Eric Lindros ready for the third period. He'll take his part on the power play as we look at the Bud Light summary. Graves and Nedved 2 and 1 apiece. Rangers 3 for 5 on the power play. That goal that John mentioned that got the Flyers back to within 2, scored by Damon Langkow. One of the 9 deals that Bob Clark has made from the outset of this season. Over the course of the summer, they brought in Mark Bureau and John Van Beesbrook. So if you add those 2, that's 11. 3/4 of a minute of power play time for the Flyers. McGillis and Desjardins will be the point men once they get it set. Brought on by Langkow, denied by the Rangers. Follow up Langkow, shuttled it on. Eric Lindros stood up, twisting with it. LeClaire, another penalty coming up. It'll be against the Rangers, so it'll be a half minute of a 5-on-3.
And Brent Fedek knows he's getting the penalty. He just goes right to the penalty box. Didn't stop at go or anything. He went right there. He knew he was in the box. The Rangers will be shorthanded 2 men. The Flyers will have a 30-second 5-on-3. There's the slash by Fedek. That's the call. So he goes to the box. Big portion. You can see that John Muckler knows how important the next 30 seconds are here. Again, I think the Flyers 5-on-3, if their wingers play the off wings, shoot the puck off the pass to try to beat a very quick goaltender laterally. Mike Richter can move left to right, right to left as quick as any goaltender in the game. And Roger Nielsen knows with his team struggling, they have a chance right now, the next 30 seconds, to get back into this thing. Big face-off, Sundstrom and Lindros. And Lindros says if it's a tie, his wingers are good at getting in to find loose pucks.
Desjardins in the shooting hole. It's fed onto the back, though. McGillis there. Make the drive, then shot one. Save Richter. Rebound, and that popped off a stick. Jammed around, but pinching along is Desjardins. Graves couldn't get it past him. The battle's still on, and it's back free for Desjardins again. 12 left on the first penalty. Eric Lindros back to Desjardins. Cracks one, rang it off the pipe. Backhander went through the crease just wide from Lindros. First penalty over. Dealt back in for Brindamore. Denied by Leach. Loose puck came to the corner. Worked along by McGillis. Trolling his Rod Brindamore. Jammed it back to the point. Desjardins has it there. Desjardins back over to Lindros. Plenty of time on the second. 1:17. It is McGillis. Wrist shot blocked by Leach. Scramble in front. And it's chopped back along and it'll trickle to neutral ice.
Now the Flyers got what they wanted. A big shot. And Desjardins hit the post.
McGillis feeds across. Lindros finesses. Leclerc scores! A power play goal, and it's a one-goal game again.
First goal in 6 games for John Leclerc. Boy, did his team do a nice job here moving the puck around. We've seen some nice goals scored in the game. 59 seconds into the minor penalty against Brent Fedek. The Flyers able to score. Rangers are changing. The Flyers transition game. Move the puck up ice. Quickly stay on side. They do that. Now watch the nice play. Slam dunk. Ooh, Leclerc had the open side, but actually banked it off the right pad underneath Richter. Look at this. Oh man, that shot might have missed the net if it didn't bank off of Mike Richter. It's a goal and a power play. So the specialty teams that we talked about for the Flyers that hadn't gotten the job done now get a shorthanded goal and a power play goal, and the specialty teams have gotten the Flyers back into this game. Fasten your seatbelt, folks.
Lindros and McGillis get the assist on Leclerc's 38th of the year at 1:21 on the power play. Ender left the puck behind. Got some help though, and it scaled around for Kevin Stevens. Big left winger with a pass up the wing, and moving on with it is Frazier back to Savard. Savard whipped one, and that cut off by the defense and worked back out now for Jody Hull. Hull moving on Ender. Plastered to the boards and glass, but he escapes and keeps going. Langkow brushed it to him. Hull hit again by Ender. Played it along, and Langkow got it back, and it trickled by Carl Dykhouse. Dykhouse chipped it along, hacked on further by Langkow, but pitched back in by Savard. 2:05 has been played here in the third period. 5-4 the Rangers over the Flyers. Season series is a Philadelphia win and a tie between the two. They'll play 2 more times, both times later in the season and in Philadelphia. Desjardins back to get this. Along for Therrien. Pass is kept but at neutral ice and then passed in offside. Delayed offside will be wiped as Desjardins moves back out. Pass skipped right back in on Richter, and Richter will cover.
So as the game becomes a 1-goal game, all of a sudden it just slows down just a notch as the teams try now to not make the fatal error to either make the game tied up or make it a 2-goal lead.
Excuse me, John, what was the most interesting thing to you about your interview with Wayne Gretzky?
I think he all the way, Mike, has said that he'll wait till the end of the season to decide if he's going to come back and play next year. Here he kind of hinted that more on the yes side than the no side, and I know that his wife, who he's very close to, would like him to play another year, and he's also got an apartment lease for next season, or for next year. Now, I don't know if he just wants to be a tourist in New York next year, or if he wants to be a resident hockey player. I think the latter.
This is Knuble. What, have you been checking with landlords? You are unbelievable.
Boy. And the rent in this town. Whew.
I think he's fine for it. Passed across for a shot and a save. He's looking the rebound. Sent through the crease wide by Sundstrom. 2 good opportunities there. It is Tamer. Knocked off his stick, and so Richter will cover. A 1-goal game with 3:03 gone in the third period. Lots of time. Well, 16:57 to go. Good seat locations for those guys. Not bad for those either. And the popcorn is just outstanding. I have never had bad popcorn in 52 years. Never
But
have.
it's better in some places than others.
It is. Nedved on the faceoff and won it to the wall. Ulf Samuelsson put it behind. Some anticipation by the Flyers and John Leclerc, but it's lobbed back out by Graves. Therrien there flipped one that got tangled in equipment but popped out of play, and so the clock stopped. Well, it is Lindros and Leclerc, numbers 1 and 2. Leclerc with 38 goals. Lindros has his 36th today, and these are the great 1-2 tandems of the past. Scary for some goaltenders. John, you played during the era of Shutt and Lafleur. Gretzky and Curry.
Gretzky is a great passer. Curry could shoot off the fly. Shutt and Lafleur, they were both wingers. And usually you see the combination as a centerman winger. Those 2 guys were wingers. Bobby Hull, that was a little scary to see him shoot the puck.
Pass tipped ahead. Leclerc chasing it down. You used to go for your mostly maskless face first. Didn't you?
Bobby.
That was the one to set you up.
That's right. They had no sense of humor back in those days. Offside here with the Flyers. They would shoot the puck in those days high at the goaltender's head, so he didn't have a lot of protection. The next time they come down the ice and shoot it low on the ice, hoping the goaltender would lift right off the ice and get himself beat on the play. You know, we talk about Lindros and Leclerc as the combination. Well, they have Jones on the wing, and all game long, Therrien and Desjardins have been the defense pairing, so it's a 5-man unit. Now for the Rangers, they played Graves, Nedved, and McLean, the forward line against Lindros, and Leach and Samuelsson. So you're seeing 5 men against 5 men at even strength all game long. This kind of been a game within the game.
Jones tipped, brought on by Leclerc. The big drive is blocked aside by Ulf Samuelsson. Cruising is Lindros. Oh my! He got a little of him, but not all. There'll be a penalty coming up. Jam to the front of the net. Another jam, and we get a stoppage of play. What a leaping attempt by Samuelsson, and he got enough for a penalty.
Called it roughing. It could have been charging if he was off his feet. I didn't even expect this. He just grazed, I think, Lindros, flew into the glass, and Samuelsson goes for his second minor. Listen to this one. Oh, did he take a run at Lindros? The one arm was off his stick and high, and I think Samuelsson left his feet on the play. It seemed to stun Lindros for a moment. Now we'll see if he starts the power plays. Does he leave his feet? Yeah, he left both feet before impact. And, oh, that may have hurt Samuelsson more than it hurt Lindros.
The way his head snapped back, I'd say you're right.
Lindros cruising in, go in behind the net, and I don't think he saw Samuelsson. No, he didn't. Mike, he was fortunate because Lindros was looking at the puck, and here comes Samuelsson. Look at that, a forearm near the neck, and he missed most of the body, and then the stick grazed the helmet. And that's why Lindros threw his head back. The stick of Samuelsson hit the helmet of Lindros. If Samuelsson catches Eric a little bit cleaner, Eric was looking down at the puck. That could have been a very dangerous play.
You see the power play. 7 shots and 1 goal. Samuelsson the rough at .356. Flyers with a man advantage and a chance to tie the game up with that advantage. And it's won by the Flyers. McGillis shooting, save Richter.
Won by the Flyers. Say that a lot when they're on the top of their game. And as the shot was taken from the point, Leclerc darts out of the corner, almost from behind the goal line to try and find the puck. Let's just watch and see what Leclerc does as the puck is won back. Leclerc's over there, or pardon me, right here. And there he goes to the net. Richter does a nice job by squeezing the puck, and there's no rebound at all. Leclerc is so good without the puck in the offensive zone, trying to find the deflection or trying to find the rebound.
Another face-off test, Nedved. Lindros you're seeing at the edge of the circle. He's not involved in the draw, but the puck is won by the Flyers. McGillis hands on. It's Langkow working the outside. Leclerc inside the box. To the back it comes to McGillis. Hands it over to Desjardins. Just got it by Gravestick. Flipped to the front, and it went through Langkow. Bodied there by Nedved. Flipped along, though, and Eric Lindros up with it. Lindros fed one in front. Oh, the shot by Desjardins was wide. Kept alive now for the Flyers on this power play. Off of Lindros' stick. It is Leach to crank it back off the boards, and it'll go back down.
My question for you is this. How did Desjardins miss that? That was a great setup.
And it was a wide open net pretty much, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just looking at the numbers. Lindros under 500 for faceoffs through 2 periods. That's why Langkow is taking more of the draws.
Lindros locked up. Tamer took care of him. Chipped along by Fedek. And Leach banked one off McGillis and down. Halfway through the penalty kill for the Rangers. Clock ticking down now to the final 15 minutes. Rangers with a 1-goal lead. Back on comes Rod Brind'Amour, denied. Kovalenko reaching, swatted by Fedek, and Kovalenko goes down. Fedek was swinging his stick at the puck and caught Kovalenko.
The referee made the motion of a deflection. I think Fedek's stick may have hit something before it went up and caught Kovalenko up high. Kovalenko stays on the ice now.
Brind'Amour pivoting, trying to shake Matthew Schneider. Got it to the back. Dykhouse banged it back off. Jones there. Jones goes right to the corner. Ender had tripped him up a little bit. And it's fed back along and out by Graves. 18 left on the power play. Shots in the game are 25-20 Rangers. move back ahead. If the Flyers come back and win this, they'll lead the Eastern Conference. The Rangers trying to get to within 3 of the last playoff berth, which they can do if they go on to win this. Fed by Kovalenko. Brindamore chipped one. Penalty time is up to Ulf Samuelsson, and it's sent back out. So the Rangers have dodged that bullet. Under 14 minutes to play, and a steal. Moving in, Savard, and a rising shot got the glass, and it sailed up into the seats.
A Dykhouse turnover. Savard missed the net by quite a margin. Now Fedek and Kovalenko got involved. As Fedek stops to try to move the puck out, he then swipes at the puck, and his stick, oh, I see, it went off the shaft of the stick of Kovalenko first and then up into the face. And right then I looked at the referee to see if there was a penalty, and he was giving the signal of a deflection. So the stick hit the stick before it went into the face. See, off the shaft and then right up, oh boy, the tip of the blade. And you see Schick right there about 3 feet away from the play. That, folks, is looker's eye. Look where the tip of the blade, that's close. Ooh, man, that was close.
We only need to talk to Peter Popovich, the defenseman for the Rangers, who is still not back following the taking of an Yzerman shot in the right eye 2 weeks ago today against Detroit.
Still blurry. Doesn't know when he'll be able to come back.
Fired back along for Frazier. Frazier has Stevens. It's played by Stevens' high stick, but the Flyers take next, so no stopping.
Flyers found the game again, didn't they? Much more forecheck like the first period.
Bureau takes care of his man Brennan, gets the puck. Wanted Jody Hall, but it's Savard, then on to Frazier, and tipped back out to Stevens and sent back across to Savard. Mark Savard cruising, trying to shake Richardson, pivots and gave to Stevens, jammed it, but right off Dykhouse. After it is Roman Volpot, puts the body and then a little bit of a lacrosse check to the back of Savard, and it's sent back to neutral ice. Ripped ahead, but beyond Stevens, and an icing touch-up. 12:52 to go, third period. It's still the Rangers 5 and the Flyers 4. Santa Anita Handicap, race for $1 million purse Saturday, 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific, right here on Fox. Lindros is out to take this face-off this time. 8 of 16 on face-offs today, opposite Nedved.
Yeah, Lankow plays with him on the power play. Lankow plays on another line at even strength, so Lindros 500 on the nose. Make that 1 over 500 now on draws.
Wristed, second try, glove down in front by Nedved. Another try, and that one got the glass from John LeClair. Jammed back along by Jones, sent back to the point. Desjardins has to retreat. Menaced by Graves, coming by to help out is Terrien. Big defenseman from Providence College stepped by and got one further, and sent down to the ice hard was John McLean, who comes right back on Desjardins. The skyhook taken by Leach. It scaled around and LeClair held back. Oh, and a mauling by Lindros and a shot that ricocheted off legs. Lindros swept. Graves took. Handed across for Nedved. Laid up for John McLean. McLean up the wing. Toes it. Shoots it. Blocked down by Terrien. On back to the point. Big shot by Snyder, and that one blocked down. Started out by LeClair. Got it to Lindros. Lindros tries to get by Tamer, and it's taken away. Angled along, but it took a Philadelphia bounce.
Penalty. One of the Flyers right down on the blue line. That looks like Jones. And there's going to be a call here as the game gets nasty. The Flyers 1 for 6, the Rangers 3 for 5, and the Flyers look like they'll have another power play to work with. Lindros very close to a breakaway, caught by Tamer. There's a good pass by Desjardins. See Lindros fly the zone, he knows. And a good play by Tamer, who's really played well for the Rangers on the blue line. And there you can see that Jones was wrapped up with one of the Rangers, and there'll be a high sticking call against them. Good play by Tamer as Lindros was within a hair of a breakaway. Nedved gets the penalty, and I think it's right back up in here. Nedved reaches in, comes up, and Jones goes down well behind the play. And Nedved's got to be careful with his discipline. He was not careful there. And he sits a penalty way back behind the play. High sticking. Jones draws the penalty.
Rangers are spinning the chamber of the pistol again. 1 for 6, the Flyers on the power play with 8 shots.
You can see that Brian Leach, the captain, is appealing to the referee, and you can see Rob Schick, the referee, he gave the cross-checking motion. So from what he saw, the stick must have come up across Jones. And for Jones, is that the 3rd penalty he's drawn in the game?
Yeah. Plus,
Well, look at
he's
the- look at
been
the-
involved himself a couple of times
Yeah.
and had to go to the box.
The intensity of the game, the coaches' faces. It's almost like a playoff atmosphere here. Flyers want to get out of their slump. The Rangers would like to get into the playoffs. And we've seen a very intense game.
Dykhouse dumped it on. Kovalenko looks things over, gets it back from Brind'Amour. Brind'Amour moved to the side, took the pass again. Kovalenko again. Brind'Amour. It's flipped in front. Ricochet on Samuelson. Score! A power play goal. The Flyers have tied the game.
Now Richter made a good save on a deflection he didn't see, and the Flyers went to the net. Got the rebound, slipped it underneath Van Beesbroek. So the Flyers specialty teams were in a funk. They weren't doing much, and all of a sudden they come alive. A shorthanded goal, 2 power play goals, and we're tied up at 5. Flyers with a 3rd straight goal. Renberg is up high. Down low is Brind'Amour. Now you'll see the play where the puck goes to the net. There's a deflection, and Richter stops it, and then there's a rebound. And it's either Renberg or Brind'Amour who end up chopping the puck right in behind Mike Richter. Puck will sit there. It's in the crease. 2 players jam at it at the same time. It's a power play goal. They're waiting for a call, I think, from upstairs, Mike. They'll get the call. It's a legitimate goal because the puck was already in the crease before the puck was chipped in. And I personally think they should... and actually, here's a stall tactic by the Rangers. Remember earlier Roger Nielsen had the stall tactic? Now the Rangers are mad at the referee, and so they're waiting to put their players on the ice.
Boy, some Flyers have really broken out of it today. Renberg is going to get credit for this. That'll be his first in 11 games. Jones has his first in 7. Leclerc his first in 6.
And all of a sudden, when these players start to get their first goal in a long time, their level of play lifts and lifts and lifts. You feel almost like just all that pressure is just lifted right off. It's gone, and you can go out and play your own game without being uptight. And there's nothing worse than playing a sport at this level where you can't play on instinct. You play on under pressure, and you're uptight, and you squeeze the stick. Now that they're getting some scoring done, all of a sudden you come alive.
Renberg's 9th of the year, his 4th power play goal from Brind'Amour and Kovalenko at 8:41. For Kovalenko, his first point as a Philadelphia Flyer. On now with this is Hull. Gives it across for a shot by Zelepukin that's tipped into the seats. 10:58 to go, 3rd period. At one time, it was 2-1 Flyers. The Rangers with 4 straight. The Flyers have battled back and evened the game up.
So we've only seen 45 shots combined, 25 by the Rangers, 20 by the Flyers. The thing is, when you start to see specialty team goals, and the majority of them, the goaltenders don't have a great deal of chance. And Beesbroek hurt himself early when he turned the puck over himself to Adam Graves. The Flyers are coming alive again.
Physical game has picked up too. Zelepukin with a shot. That ricocheted off Tamer, who's seen a lot of ice time today.
The Rangers have taken, 3 straight penalties? Yeah. That's changed the flow of the game a lot.
It has worn out guys that would normally not see as much action but are forced into it now. Tamer trying to defend. Langkow upended. Jab back 3. Good close-off done by Tamer so that Zelepukin couldn't get there. The best part of it was effective. The second best part, it was legal. Here is Stevens bringing it on. 10:20 to go, 3rd period. Glad you're with us on Fox. Sure hope you're enjoying the game. We are 5-5. 25 shots for the Rangers, 21 for the Flyers. Drubbed right back out again and down, and there'll be an icing. The touch up by Therrien.
And as the faceoff goes back to the Rangers zone, again, you're going to see 5-on-5. Nedved and Lindros, and a lot of the players with these 2 units have been the players that have been involved in taking penalties.
Boy, points are so much a necessity. Washington is out of the running right now. They have seen Pittsburgh come back and tie them in their game this afternoon, and the Penguins need the points too. They've got to get even with Toronto and New Jersey with 73.
5-5 tie here, 3-3 in Washington, 1-0 Dallas in the 3rd over Los Angeles, and that's a big game for the Kings. They've won 2 straight on the road. Detroit and St. Louis trying to get a point out of Dallas at least. Lindros leads their team in scoring. He's the only player in the league that lead their team in scoring, that also lead them in penalty minutes. I kind of like that combination.
That's right. That's hockey. The follow-up McLean. The pass was under Nedved's stick, and Nedved arrived. Punched it along, but right into Therrien, and he's rocked by Therrien. Puck fed back to Ulf Samuelsson. Samuelsson back on now for control, and a flip to the front off Graves. Graves with a couple today. Nedved with a couple as well. And it's sent back down. Brian Leetch will go back to get this, and there'll be an icing call. 9:36 to go in the third period.
We're talking about penalty minutes with Lindros leading his team in scoring and penalty minutes. Bobby Holik has 82 minutes, near the top of the Devils. Forsberg is near the top with Colorado, and he's in the 80s. Roenick for Phoenix is in the 80s. I think maybe the 90s now after his penalty minutes here the other night. But nobody leads the team like Eric does.
How deep are the pockets of the Avalanche? Taking on Theo Fleury, they've got a $6 million guy whose contract is going to expire in Forsberg.
They have a brand new arena, the Pepsi Center, going to open next season. And I think they're spending some dough before it comes in. At least they're counting on it, aren't they?
I think the truck's headed to your house now with the delivery of many cases. Back on Brindamore. Drops it on back. Dykhouse a shot save. Rebound! Oh, and sprawling across was Malhotra. And the puck underneath the equipment of Richter.
You gotta love it. A scoring chance in the rush. There's nothing better in hockey than when you see a scoring chance on the rush. And Mike Richter able to make the second save. Here comes the Brindamore line. Attacking. Drop pass going to the net. Brindamore is knocked out of the way, and there's the rebound shot by Renberg. And he's robbed by Mike Richter. The Flyers close to a 1-goal lead.
Malhotra to take the draw. The 18-year-old tangles up with the veteran Brindamore. As John mentioned in the first period, it looked like a matchup that would stick, and it has. Floated back out. Flyers can move it ahead. Thrown in by Brindamore. They set their bayonets and go after it. Drilled back along. Brindamore up with it there. Around behind. Worked over was Kovalenko. Pivoting with it is Renberg. Michael Renberg shuttles it back on for Kovalenko. With a shot that's blocked away by Richter. Chopped on by Knuble, and it popped back to neutral ice. The Flyers are the team bringing it right now. Thrown on by Richardson. Back to Brindamore. Wide of the cage and gotten by Rich Brennan. Work back ahead now for Stevens. Stevens plopped it back on Van Beesbroek. Decides to hang on. Third period shots are 7-1 Philadelphia. This game is tied. Traditions continue. Youngster at Madison Square Garden, as his father probably was when John Davidson played here.
His grandfather. 5-5, 8:26 to go in the third period.
Won by Bureau. Sent around by Desjardins. Punched back down by Colin Forbes.
Flyers want to change on the fly here. They got Lindros in his line out against the very young centerman Dubé. There.
Lindros fed inside of the net, and the shot was shanked. Standing at the front was Roman Beaupot, and he only got a piece of it. Fed around now to Lindros. Tried for Beaupot. Down to the ice he went. Ender up with it. Whips it back off the glass, and it caroms back down.
The Flyers changed on the fly, and it nearly worked for them. The Rangers now quickly change their guys as the Rangers are called for icing. It was a good face-off win by Bureau. He went right to the bench. Immediately, Lindros jumped on the ice and flew down the ice, stripped the puck from the youngster Dubé, and set up the shot on goal that was shanked just wide, or it would have been a go-ahead play. That's a play you have to pull off on the road. So Lindros wasn't against Nedved. He wasn't against Leach. He wasn't against Samuelson. There was some other guys finally, and it very nearly paid off.
Flyers have dominated faceoffs. They've won 46 out of the 66 conducted this afternoon. Lindros in on this draw opposite Nedved. Jones and Leclerc are out there. All three have had goals today for the Flyers. Desjardins and Terry in the defense. Leach matched up with Opie Samuelson on defense for the Rangers. Puck chipped to the front. Leach able to fish it away for Graves. Graves with a pair of goals in this game. The same for Nedved. Knifed on down. Graves up with it. So you've got the productive line against the productive line right now.
You know, with all the power plays we've seen in the game, the matchups haven't been really apparent. Now we're seeing a stretch of time without a power play. So you're seeing Malhotra against Brindamore. You're seeing Big Eric Lindros go against Peter Nedved. So the matchups are a little more, stable, a little more active, similar. We saw Bureau up against Dubé until Bureau pulled a sneaky and went right to the bench for Lindros, and it almost worked for the Flyers.
See the shots. 7 of 8 have been taken by Philadelphia. Both the goals in this period have come from them. Swung back in off of Keith Jones. Jones able to block it back in deep. Richter decides to come out for this one. Swings it along, and Jones, the first one there, hit hard by Leach, and the puck knocked ahead. Graves went down. There will be a penalty. Desjardins will get it. So a 5-5 contest. Peter Nedved, with 2 goals today, has drawn a penalty to the Philadelphia Flyers and Eric Desjardins. And the Rangers with a chance to break the tie. The hustle by Nedved, a 2-goal scorer in this game.
And you can see Desjardins' feet were stationary. The hook was on. Nedved's down. The Rangers' power play has given him 3 goals in the game, but the Flyers have scored the last 3 to tie.
The big line for the Flyers, Jones, Lindbergh, and Leclerc with goals. Renberg as well as Langkow. Graves and Nedved with a pair. Scott Fraser with 1. Desjardins, the tripping call. 7:22 to go. The Rangers' power play is 3 for 5 with 7 shots.
And one of the key goals in this game, Mike, was when Langkow was able to score a shorthanded goal. The Flyers were down by 3. The Rangers on a power play, and Langkow scored a shorthanded goal, and the Flyers have come right back to tie it.
John Van Beesbrook, the ex-Rangers goaltender, kept alive by Schneider. Dealt in by Nedved. Graves for Nedved, and it went off his stick and then wide as he was worked over pretty well by Therrien. Onto the back, it's forced back over to Matthew Schneider. Schneider hands it across to Leach, worked on in deep for Graves. Looking for McLean, gave it to Leach. Touch pass back over to Schneider. Schneider back right on for control by Nedved. On the cycle now to John McLean. McLean looking over the traffic. Graves in front of the goalkeeper, Van Beesbrook. Leach side of it, score!
We have seen about 4 gorgeous goals in this game, and this is another one. Therrien, the defenseman, is pulled all the way out to the blue line. 3-on-2 down low, and a quick pass shot by Nedved. And the Rangers' power plays work today because they have shot the puck off the pass. Graves in front. Leach with a primary assist to Nedved. He gets his 3rd. And there's dozens of hats on the ice right now. 6:28 to go. And this has been a specialty teams bonanza. The Flyers with 2 power play goals and a shorthanded goal. The Rangers with 4 power play goals. Nedved scores and the Rangers lead by 1. There must have been a dozen passes. Even the Flyer hat down there. Maybe that was an anger. Mike, there must have been a dozen passes. U.S. Open, a bet. A dozen passes before the goal was scored. And every one of them connected. Just look at some of the passing here. Leach across. Schneider on the puck. Back to Leach. Down low to Graves. Back to Leach. Across to Schneider. Down to Nedved. Now here's the crucial play, the smart one. He fired it back down to McLean, who got open for the Rangers. Now he'll give the puck to Leach, who in turn, now you see the 2-on-1 down low. Bang. And just a great power play execution. Just like we saw when the Flyers scored, I think, their 2nd power play goal a goal. We've seen some nice pass work in this game by both teams on their specialty teams.
2nd career hat trick for Nedved. The only other Ranger hat trick this year was by Kevin Stevens, and you think, as you look at the Rangers executive box, Wayne Gretzky's out. Where will they be able to draw any kind of an attack from? But yet they were overwhelming against Phoenix, and they have come from down, have given up a lead, and then gotten the lead back again with still lots of time.
And who may feel it more than the general managers who sit up and watch? Man, this is a wild one here. This is one of the more entertaining games we've seen in a couple of seasons at Madison Square Garden. Everybody's into this one. Both teams, the fans, the coaches, and the general managers are slowly dying.
The coaches don't like it, but all of us do. Yeah. There's been an epidemic of this kind of game in the recent weeks here in the NHL too.
Well, a 5-5 tie the other night with Florida playing in Detroit was highly entertaining. Pavel Bure scored on a penalty shot in that game.
Desjardins jammed it behind. Therrien up with it there. It's fed back ahead for a little tap on. Chased off was Leclerc. Spun it through Lindros and back down for Leach. Brian Leach flipped it away from Leclerc. Crunching in is Jones. Puck popped back to neutral ice. 6 minutes to go. The clock the enemy of the Flyers, at least for now. 17 face-off wins to 5 for the Flyers in this third period. Lindros a drive, and the shot went wide. Drilled back along to the point and pitched high to the glass. It is Lindros there. He's got Leclerc. Dumped it around behind the ducking referee, Rob Schick. Leclerc put it off the back of the goal. Lindros tries to stash one from behind, and it's held in a big pile up at the crease.
And look at John McLean bent over in the corner as everybody scrums in front of the net. McLean's playing with that burner. He's got a nerve problem by his neck and shoulder. He was on the backboards with, I think, Leclerc. He had one hand on his stick, and the other arm's got no strength in it. And man, you know, you talked about McGillis for Philadelphia playing with an awfully sore neck. McLean, look at the face. He's playing with an awfully sore neck. These guys are war horses. Now you're going to see the right arm of McLean. See how it's just hanging back? It's not on Leclerc. He's got no strength in that arm. Now Lindros will try the wraparound that stopped. Schneider tackles his man in front. Now you're going to see McLean skate behind the net, hunched over. I don't know if we quite see him just yet, but he's bent over at the waist in all kinds of pain, having no strength in the arm at all. Look at Schneider. Look at that headlock in front on Jones. Jones is always involved, and the McLean down below skated by. He is one hurting hockey player. And when you play the Flyers, with all their toughness and their size and their forecheck, when you're hurting, by the time the game's over, you hurt a little more. Jones is in the box, and I would imagine Schneider's in the box, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Those two ended up with some nasty work in front of Mike Richter.
Let's hear from Chris Myers back at our studios.
All right, Mike. Pittsburgh and Washington. At one time, the Caps had a 3-0 lead. The Pens battled into a 3-3 tie, but then watch Andrei Nicolishin. He just reaches out and stretches it past Tom Barrasso to give the Caps a 4-3 lead. The Pens on the road have lost 4 of their last 5, and they're trailing in this one. Let's go back to Mike and John.
If the Rangers go on to win it, they will have 57. They will have leapfrogged past Montreal, the team that the Flyers will play next. If the Flyers win, they'll take over first in the Eastern Conference, but what a logjam of teams there will be. The Flyers currently with 73 points. Ottawa and New Jersey, which won today, have 74. Toronto 73, and if Pittsburgh comes back and beats Washington, the Penguins will have 73. Terrific.
Yeah, when you have a great race at the top and the bottom. Yeah, terrific is the proper word.
Taken by Langkow, worked over to Brindamore, wiped out. Coming forward is Ulf Samuelsson, flipped it along, and it's steered out by Savard. McGillis back across to Tertichny. Both teams are a man short for another minute and a half. Just over 5 minutes to play, regulation time. Leach behind. Down he went. Penalty coming up. It'll be on Langkow. Delayed penalty call. Off the ice comes Richter for the extra attacker, and he wastes it to the glass. But the first one there is Sundstrom. And then it's touched away from him, and so we get the stoppage. We'll return with another power play right after this.